Hey everyone, Serge LeBlanc here. In this video, I'd like to go through an example of the difference between inner joins and the new joins that we learned last week, the left outer, right outer, and cross joins. So as a review, we saw last week that we had a simple example where we had two tables that contain a few lines of data, the logins table and the premium table that I created on my local database. So let's take a look to see what these tables look like. So if I look at the logins table here, I have a list of user IDs that logged in on a specific platform with the login date. And this is a sample of what a login table at your company might look like. There'll be an ID to the row, and then a list of user IDs, platforms, and dates. Now, another table that we have here is called the premium table. And this is a list of users who have the paid version of our product. In this case, we're calling it premium. So in this table, we have a list of users that paid for our product, which platform they used to pay for our product, and then the subscription date that they signed up. So this could be a typical example of a table that you might have at your work if you have a paid version of your product. Now, let's briefly review the inner join. So a case for the inner join is, let's say that we would be asked the question, how many users who logged in on February 10th were premium? Now, to answer this question, we need to combine data from the logins table. So we want to look at people who logged in on February 10th, which, just as a reminder, if we look at the result in the logins table, everyone in this sample here is the login date is February 10th. And then in the other table, we have users who are premium. Okay? Now, if we want to answer the question, how many users who logged in on February 10th were premium? What we need to do here is we need to look at people who are in table logins and then see how many of them are in the premium table. And a good way to do that is by using the inner join. So if we select everything from the logins table and we join it to the premium table, and we notice we can use the syntax either using user ID. Why? Because in this case, the column for user ID is called the same thing in both logins, user ID, and this is the logins table, user ID, and in the premium table, user ID. So we can use using, or we can use the syntax on logins.userid equals premium.userid. Let's go ahead and run this query. Okay, so let's see what's happening here. Syntax error at or near on. Oh, well, looks like we had that line twice. Okay, there we go. Let's try it again. All right. So now what this did here is it showed me the results of both tables. So this is the first four columns are the columns in the logins table, and then the columns in the premium table. So it found the people in the logins table who had an entry in the premium table. So this is the result of the inner join between these two tables. But to help you visualize what the left, right, and cross join does, let's take a look if we do a left join on these two tables. So remember, the concept of a left join is, as you're reading SQL, the first table, you can think of reading from top to bottom as reading it from left to right. So the first table that you read in your SQL syntax, that represents the left table. So if we're doing a select from logins and then a left outer join on premium, it means that we will bring back every element from the logins tables in the result of the query. Right? So even though that the entries in the logins tables that don't have a match in the premium table, they will show up as a result of the join, because we're doing left join means show me everything from the left table, which is the first table. And now another thing we learned is that for optimal SQL performance, we always want our transactional table to be the left table. So normally the transaction will be the large table. So a way to remember this is left large. So the logins would be our large table compared to the users who have paid for our product. Unfortunately, but that will always be the case. So the logins table will be the largest one. So we do logins first in our syntax. So let's run this query and see what happens. Okay, so looking at the results of the logins table, we have every entry, right? We have 11 rows in the logins table, right? And if we do the left join, everything that was in the logins table makes it as a result of the join. Now, do we see everything from the premium table? No, we only see the rows. We only see the users that have an entry in the logins table. So if you look at the premium, there's 3 rows here, right? So only 2 made the result of the left join. That's because one of them did not have an entry in the logins table. So the left join brings everything from the left table and shows the result of the right table that has a match in the left table. And then the rest will be nulls. So what this means is these users here that have an entry in the logins table, they were not part of the premium table. Okay? So if we do want to bring everything from both tables, that is where we have the example of a full outer join. So if we do a full outer join on it, it brings back everything from both tables. So here the difference between the result of the left join and the full outer join is this extra row here, where it brought back everything from the logins table and then also everything from the premium table, and then it had nulls where there wasn't any match between both. Okay, so now let's just actually look what a right join would look like. Oops, forgot my semicolon. All right, here we go. So the result of a right join on the premium table is that if you look premium tables on the right here, it brought back every entry. So everyone that was in the premium table, the 3 user IDs, 101, 202, 303, they all make it as a result of the right join. Right, but 303 user was not in the logins table, so he has null here entered. All right, so hopefully that's a good example of how to visualize left and right joins and full outer joins. And then finally, there's also the cross join, which is basically it takes every row in one table and then joins it to every row in the other table. And the difference is here we don't have anything to join on because we're not giving it anything in common. We're just saying take every row in one table and join it to every row in the other table. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so we have 33 entries here, right? Premium had 3 entries. Logins had 11, so 3 times 11 is 33. So just took one row from every table and joined it to every row in the other table. So I hope that helps you visualize the differences between the inner, outer, and cross joins. And we'll look at more examples in class later on. Thank you.